In the Egghead Island arc, Dr. Vegapunk tells us about this magical flame, like the power of the sun. He calls his version of this the Mother Flame, and it's this which powers the island of Egghead. There is actually a machine which materializes food from the air, I guess? If we're being honest with ourselves, the amount of energy it would take to accomplish such an absurd feat is probably more than the 1.21 gigawatts required to travel into the future. So the Mother Flame as a source of energy is probably superior to anything that we know of on Earth. Which makes sense considering that Imu and the Gorosei utilized the Mother Flame. I believe they utilized it as a power source in order to power their weapon, which utterly erased Lolosia from the map. It potentially put a hole straight through the Earth, which is scary. Even scarier, however, is that there is a superior version of it, which Vegapunk dubs the Eternal Flame, and was in fact what he was trying to invent all along, but simply failed because he is a failure of a scientist. Sarcasm. But long story short is that the Eternal Flame is important to the story of Egghead, and it is important to the story going forward. It's very clear that the Gorosei are going to extreme lengths while destroying Egghead utterly in order to preserve the Mother Flame there, as well as preserve their means of recreating it in the future. I promise you they will use their weapon again, which means they need the flame. But even more than that, a theme in the story of One Piece is accomplishing your dreams. And although it's true that not everybody accomplishes their dreams, and frankly, some people shouldn't ever accomplish their dreams, Katarina Devon, cutting off beautiful women's heads is not an acceptable dream to accomplish. But even for good dreams, right, they don't always accomplish them. They might die in the pursuit. So let's raise a pint for Vegapunk. Yet despite this anticlimactic end, their dreams will likely be inherited. Essentially, as Blackbeard tells us in Jaya, dreams never die. So it's likely that Dr. Vegapunk's dream of the eternal flame, of endless energy creating peace, will be inherited, whether it's by Frankie or by Lilith or whoever. And more than that, I think that his dream will be accomplished by the end of the story that we are reading. The secret of the Eternal Flame will be discovered. So I think that we should be asking these questions. What is the Eternal Flame? What is the Mother Flame? And how does it add into the end of the story? If you're enjoying the One Piece content, remember to subscribe and click the bell to be notified. With that being said, let's begin. Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, the discovery of and the ability to create fire changed the course of human history. The discovery of fire might mark the dawn of humanity as we know it. This has bled into mythology as well. Fire is often the power of the gods. In Greek mythology, Prometheus, a titan, stole fire from the Olympic gods and gave it to humanity. This fire was also seen as the power of creation. The ancient Greeks themselves, by way of Plato, believed that the name Prometheus broke down into two words: before intelligence. They believed that Prometheus, a champion of humanity, gave us the ability to think. Fire was the first great technology. In this way, it might be easier to understand how this might relate to the Tree of Knowledge. The fire was the forbidden fruit. Similar to Greek mythology, there is something that God does not want us to possess. But Prometheus steals this flame, and Adam and Eve eat this fruit, and they are awakened. I think that this is what has inspired the Mother Flame. It is also the power of creation, a power linked to an actual One Piece god, Nika, the sun god. And even in calling it the Mother Flame, I can't help but think about Eve. She was the first to be tempted to eat the forbidden fruit. And in so doing, God cast both Adam and Eve from Eden, from paradise. Through Vegapunk, we've learned that the creation of the Mother Flame might lead to similar consequences: the destruction of the world. The full name of the Tree of Knowledge is really the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil. And it's interesting to think about how the pursuit of good, or the influence of evil, is itself the spark of creation. Without this knowledge, there is nothing that we need, therefore no need to create. Basically, it is believed that from the moment that Adam and Eve ate this forbidden fruit, civilization as we know it was created, including all of our advancements within it, making the forbidden fruit even more similar to the fire that Prometheus stole from the gods. When Vegapunk describes his dream, he explains that the flame that he seeks is the literal power of the sun. Scientifically, everything that we are and that we interact with on Earth, all of it was made inside of a star. Through fusion, the sun is the power of creation. The Mother Flame is as close as Vegapunk has gotten to this power. But of course, you understand how the power of the sun is fundamentally a dangerous thing. The story of Icarus flying too close to the sun. But Vegapunk also tells us that the closer that he gets to his perfect idealized power source, the closer that he gets to whatever powered the ancient giant robot. But the robot is now awake in Egghead, actually participating in the battle. We're not led to believe that Vegapunk is the one responsible for this. We're led to believe that Nika, the sun god, Luffy awakened Gear 5th, is responsible. This straight up suggests that Nika is the eternal flame. Nika is the power source that Vegapunk has been striving for. Nika powers the robot. So I think that you can think of the mother flame as a flame literally stolen from the gods Nika the sun god. The mother flame is a fraction of the power of Nika. Vegapunk himself has flown close to that sun. So I think that if you want to understand the nature of the eternal flame, you have to look at the nature of Nika. And the place that I want to begin is how exactly Nika turned on the ancient giant robot. He didn't fuse with it, he didn't give it some sort of flame or anything like that. It was simply Nika's heartbeat, the drums of liberation. So I want to end this section, and I just want to leave you with this thought. The eternal flame is the same as the heartbeat of Nika. With the most recent chapter of One Piece, chapter 1118, I feel like this is re-emerging as a point of discussion because we saw in chapter 1117 the ancient giant robot get defeated by the Gorosei and fall into the ocean. And at the same time, importantly, Vegapunk's message, which is being transmitted from within the robot, is cut off. But then Luffy goes Nika, he goes Gear 5th. And in the final panel of chapter 1118, we see a Dindin Mushi sound effect coming from the robot, as if the Dindin Mushi turned back on. Essentially further confirmation that when Luffy awakens his Devil Fruit, he powers the robot. We should be asking why Luffy's Devil Fruit has this ability. Why is Luffy's Devil Fruit a power source? And how does it work? In the recent chapters, we've actually gotten to see the Mother Flame, and it is literally a flame submerged in water. But when you look at it and you compare it to something like Brook's soul, it reminds you of how Oda draws a soul. Guys, I think that some of this hides in plain sight, but Oda has created parallels within the story already, which should make you think about the Mother Flame and the Eternal Flame as a soul. Take a look at Big Mom's flashback. This wasn't clear at the time, but it is clear now. Mother Carmel, or Sister Carmel, infiltrated Elbaf under the premise of being a priest of Nika. The giants of Elbaf worship the sun god, right? That is now abundantly clear reading the recent chapters. But in fact, we already knew this because of Simlaw. Do you guys remember Simlaw from Big Mom's flashback? That was traditionally eaten during the winter solstice festival held in Elbaf, which was a festival to celebrate the death and rebirth of the sun. But even more specifically, Mother Carmel used her powers in order to tame a raging wildfire in Elbaf, and afterwards the giants claimed that the sun god saved them. It's basically telegraphed that the giants thought that Mother Carmel either was the sun god or was the sun god's vessel or prophet. When she was younger, before she had actually arrived in Elbaf, her entire message, the reason why she was accepted in Elbaf, was a message of peace. And in Elbaf, she founded the Sheep's House, or an orphanage, a home for the homeless, which honestly looks very similar to the Strat crew and the Grand Fleet, as well as what we know about Joy Boy. He freed slaves of every race. But even further than that, right? Kuma, who believes in Nika, holds a Bible. His Church of Nika, which we see in his flashback, bears the sun, but also the cross. And if you want to get really crazy, right, the giants celebrated the winter solstice, the death and the rebirth of the sun. This is most likely based off of a Roman tradition of practically the same name, Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the birthday of the unconquered sun, or Sol Invictus, celebrated during the winter solstice, or more specifically, December 25th, the same birthday as Jesus. In Rome, Jesus basically is the sun god. So this is why the giants loved Carmel and were so mad at Big Mom for having killed her. Carmel was a significant religious figure. Now obviously we know that Mother Carmel was an agent of Cypherpole and that her intentions were not so sweet. But she was able to become a false prophet because of her use of the soul fruit. She turned a raging inferno into Pandora a homie, a literal smiling soul of fire. I think that essentially Mother Carmel created something that we should compare to the Mother Flame or the Eternal Flame, in just the same way as Nika is associated with the Iron Giant robot, which is powered by the same thing. And if this parallel wasn't already extremely obvious, Big Mom killed Mother Carmel. She then consumed this soul fruit. But she did this unintentionally, and we see repeated throughout her flashback as well as moments during the actual Whole Cake Island arc, she asked herself, Mother Carmel, where did you go? Oddly similar to what the ancient robot has said in the recent chapters. Joy Boy, where did you go? Mother Carmel is being paralleled with Joy Boy, and Big Mom is being paralleled with the ancient robot. Guys, Big Mom is literally powered by souls. She consumes them. If she doesn't, she malfunctions. Perhaps similar to how the robot is powered by the eternal flame. Oda is diabolical, guys, I am telling you, because he also refers to Big Mom as an iron balloon. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. No dicking around today. I think that the Mother Flame is related to the soul. That is the essence of this incredible power. But this theory isn't just based on a visual similarity. I think that Sanji is particularly interesting. Like the Mother Flame as a flame, Sanji spontaneously combusts. He catches fire. This ability is obviously not fully explained to us, but based on what Sanji has said and what Oda has said in an SBS about Sanji, this is related to the power of Sanji's heart. A reader asked Oda why it is that Sanji's flames don't burn him, and Oda told us that his heart just burns so much hotter. And maybe you could think that this is tongue-in-cheek from Oda. It's intended to be a joke, but Sanji has also clarified that Diable Jambe is created because of his burning passion, aka his soul. Sanji is also a genetically enhanced human. Is it so far-fetched to think that something similar to the Mother Flame might exist within Sanji? His own kind of flame. And that's the source of his power. I think that it's a fitting time to probably think about the Lunarians as well and the nature of their flames. It seems to be intrinsically a part of them, like perhaps part of their soul that you can actually see. But if I'm being honest with you guys, I'm not just saying that Sanji has this sort of flame within him. I think that this is present in everybody. Although everybody's bodies are not built to handle it, and therefore they can't show it as well. The Vivre card is another thing that is not really explained in the story of One Piece, but we can presume, based on how it works, that it possesses like a bit of someone's soul. The paper is intrinsically connected to the life force of the person who made it. And when that person is close to death or just dies, as in the case of Ace, we see the Vivre card literally burning up. It seems to me that this is a very subtle way to relate the soul with a flame. This would explain Luffy's Red Rock and Red Hawk abilities. Not coincidentally, Luffy's flame burns even when submerged in water, just the same as the Mother Flame. So let me spell this out. Sanji's flame-related abilities are powered by his own heart, or his soul. Perhaps similar to the fact that the heartbeat of Nika, the drums of liberation, seems to be powering the ancient giant robot. This heartbeat of Nika is the eternal flame. Vegapunk tells us that the closer that he gets to the eternal flame, the closer he gets to whatever powered the ancient giant robot in the past. So if the robot is powered by the heart of Nika, which resembles or is the eternal flame, it's fair to wonder whether the Mother Flame, which is Vegapunk getting closer and closer to the eternal flame, if the Mother Flame is not the heart of somebody like Sanji, or many Sanjis put together. Guys, I really hope that this makes sense and this doesn't feel like a reach to you, because it doesn't feel like a reach to me. A question that people are asking right now, something that just truly does not make any sense, it does not add up with what we know for sure from this story, is the fact that the Gorosei have told us that the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or the Nika fruit, has not awakened for 800 years. But we know that Nika awakened powers the ancient giant robot. And we know that the ancient giant robot woke up 200 years ago. This is the story about how Vegapunk acquired the robot. It climbed the red line and perhaps attacked Mary Joie. But there was no Nika to do this. Why did the robot turn back on? My theory is that it has to do with the will of the people. Their collective heartbeats, or their collective souls, can mimic the power of Nika, in a similar way as Vegapunk has discovered the Mother Flame, which mimics the power of Nika. Guys, Nika is a god of joy. Luffy has stated on numerous occasions as he has gone Gear 5th, he cannot stop laughing. Joy is a fundamental part of Nika's soul. When the ancient giant robot climbed Mary Joie hundreds of years ago, what was actually happening at the time? We are told that the world government had made an alliance with Fishman Island after centuries of discrimination. The institution of slavery is finally prohibited after 600 years, and the Ryugu Kingdom attended its first reverie. Guys, I think that the ancient giant robot thought that Nika was on top of the red line. That is why it woke up, because of an event that created an insane amount of joy. Of course, this was the last reverie that the Fishmen attended for 200 years. And ironically, the robot was probably to blame. I kind of think that too much joy was created, and the world government realized that if they continued down this path, the rest of the ancient kingdom would wake up, because the kingdom was powered by laughter and by joy. Hopefully all of this makes sense to you. Basically, it's now practically confirmed that Nika's heartbeat powers the ancient giant robot. The robot, we were told, was powered by the eternal flame. So you should be thinking about the eternal flame as well as the mother flame as a heartbeat, physically depicted as a flame, but probably just a more powerful example of an individual soul, expressing a powerful emotion. Oda has basically created an insane futuristic power source, which is the collective soul of humanity itself. But I think that from this point, it's a pretty short jump to suggest that the Eternal Flame, as it originally was during the Void Century, the power source that Vegapunk is striving for but couldn't quite create, Nika's heartbeat might be the will of D. In the vast majority of cases, with members of the family D, they smile before they die. I think that the will of D is the collective soul of joy. The initial D just refers to a long-forgotten dream, when the world's advancements were powered by laughter. So maybe I should clarify. At this point, we've basically argued that Nika's heartbeat, Nika's soul, is the Eternal Flame, but I don't actually think that that's the case. I think that Nika is similar to the Eternal Flame, and that is why Nika powers the ancient giant robot. But the actual Eternal Flame is the will of D. But at the very least, I hope that you guys see that this is a really cool way to take the concept of the will of D in the story, because this has been hyped up since very near the beginning. I remember Dr. Correa's quote about it, including Luffy's middle initial, and at some point this needs to be something, I would think, tangible. The will of D is not just something that simply exists. It exists and can be acquired or created. And in addition to this, we can now speculate what it does: provide boundless energy for a peaceful and prosperous future. Imagine this for a second. This is crazy, alright? Imagine this. With the will of D being the Eternal Flame, which is the soul of Nika, which is the soul of the collective joy of everyone, the world is now intrinsically and economically dependent on joy. Without joy, society itself is doomed to collapse. Wars themselves, which directly and obviously contradict joy, would economically ruin any country. At the very least, I hope you guys can tell this is a very big-brained idea, and very fitting to the story of One Piece. The way that I see it is that the people of the world are connected to the will of D, which exists somewhere. Just the same as the relationship between the ancient giant robot and Nika, it turns on when the world feels enough joy. So this is the way that I see Vegapunk's dream realized. He was striving for this power source, but the truth is that just like the whole of Egghead, right, everything Vegapunk is trying to invent has already been created. The Eternal Flame has already been created. Now it needs to be found. And I think that joy could be the key to open this door. In my opinion, Luffy's awakening has an AoE effect to uplift the people around him. In layman's terms, his laughter is contagious. I think that you are seeing this effect as Bonnie transforms into Nika in the recent chapters. Luffy is passively freeing her heart. So I think that Luffy has the ability to reawaken the Eternal Flame, and in the process make Vegapunk's dream a reality. Maybe it's a little late for me to say this, but this video is incredibly dishonest. It's dishonest because I've already speculated pretty much everything that's here. But I've done some soul searching about my channel over the last couple weeks where I just feel as if I'm talking in outer space to a lot of casual One Piece fans. I'm saying things that are justified in my mind, that I have an explanation for in my mind, but I'm not explaining them well enough in the theory. In a sense, I'm being too ambitious, where I was going for an idea even bigger than this one, while including this theory in there, justified poorly. The video starts to get to 30-40 minutes and I have a heart attack, and then suddenly a lot of things are cut. So I just felt like it was important to make an entire dedicated video as to why I think that the Mother Flame and the Eternal Flame is related to the soul. To get even more detailed with you, I think that the Eternal Flame is related to the soul of joy. But this is where it starts to get clear of how dishonest I'm being with you, because I'm trying to take you on a journey of following my thought process, and it doesn't start at the end. In Buddhism, joy is just a part of love. And I truly think that love, all-encompassing love, every form of love, is the ultimate power source in One Piece. Love is what connects Big Mom to Sanji to Luffy and Nika. I think that Oda's story is about solving the world's problems with love. Love is the flame which the people stole from the gods. The D brings a storm, and we also know that love is a hurricane. The D initial is related to love. Big Mom, who likely believes in Nika through Mother Carmel's teaching, has a heart tattoo. And there's also potentially foreshadowing with Trafalgar Law, the heart pirates in Corazon. Vegapunk even brings up the power of love in Egghead. But like I said, this is simply the next step that I've already taken. I would prefer just to start at the beginning. Let's settle you on the first part of this, and then we can get to the second part. The first part is simply that the Mother Flame and the Eternal Flame is related to the soul and related to Nika's joy, which I think is very justified. The soul, which we know has power because of Haki. But if you're curious for more videos related to this concept that build off of this concept, check out Sanji, Power of a Star. Link will be in the description. And it's also worth checking out my theories about Moon Piece. The long story short here is I think that the Eternal Flame is related to the cataclysmic events that might happen in the future of the One Piece world. And understanding the nature of the Eternal Flame could help us understand how we might solve this problem, or how the problem even started in the first place. But there's obviously a million other things that I could potentially say, but I won't today. As always, I'm curious as to what you guys think, whether you agree with this, you disagree with this, it was thought-provoking, you're intrigued, let me know. Remember to like the video, subscribe, click the bell to be notified, join the squad, and as always guys, have a wonderful day.